Alright, join me on a couple of laps of probably the greatest circuit in history, or one of the most infamous circuits in history, the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So we're about halfway through the lap, the 2-lap race in the lead, driving a Cooper Maserati, the same car from the Mexican Grand Prix. Just so happened that we took over this car. Had an eagle go off in the background behind us, and looks like he's caused a little bit of a hold up because there are no cars behind us, so we are free to just drive at our own pace as on this absolute crazy circuit, also known as the Green L. It's a 14-kilometre circuit with about 70 corners, and all of them will try to kill you where they can, and have succeeded on many occasions. Hence the infamous. The track is very dangerous. You put these 60s cars or this era of racing on this track, and it's not a good combo. Very fun to watch, and the driving sim where you are safe, but in period deadly, as seen on numerous occasions. As we come up to like the midway of the lap, I'd say about now, it's very hard track to learn, and I must admit I've done about 100 laps, I reckon, and I still struggle to remember which corner's coming up. You know, you're driving at 70% of what you could every lap, and you throw in the 60s cars, a bit of oversteer, and you really start to bring that number even further down, and just still crashes all the time. As we come into the carousel, one of the most famous corners on the track, and miss it completely. So many cool photos seen from that cornering period. Coming up to everyone's favourite section, or a lot of people's favourite section of the course anyway. The last third of it, call it. Definitely, I find it quite tricky, this part of the course. Is all the corners are left, right, and they all feed into the same vibe. They all look very similar, so it's hard to remember where you are often. As we come into a right-hander here, doesn't take away from the fact that these are insanely gorgeous corners, and just a great track to drive, really. When you're in the flow on this track, it is everything. Time slows down, and you just carve this track, and it just feels great to drive. Often feel like people might like a circuit, but you don't really know what it's like until you drive it in these cars, these period cars, whether it be like sports cars, F1, you know, just this era of racing where it's really truly car-verse track. You put it on easy circuits like Monza, and you know, it's fun. You put it on this circuit and it becomes a whole different beast. So I always get caught out by this corner. I always overshoot it and run wide there. That's a definite crash spot for me. As we come into the jump, right-hander, another spot in the modern circuit anyway that's been raised a lot, and I definitely crashed there. This one always catches me off guard as well. I think that goes super far downhill. I think this corner is where that one is, so again, it all just looks very similar. Often get off tracks here for that little bit there, which will run straight over the grass. Often because the car just won't do what I tell it to. But coming into the last bit before the straight now, couple of corners, and then the carousel left-hander that just seems to go forever and ever and never ends, and then the second carousel, which hopefully will hit this time. It'll be hard to miss, but yeah, we do. And then nice snap oversteer on the exit. Coming on to straight in a couple of corners. This is another corner that just seems to go forever. You never know when to get the power down. I really need to get a marker for where I put the power down. But we've done it pretty nicely there. Come onto the straight. Now there's two spots where there's really great photos. There's more than two, but you ever see cars coming down here, period photographs, they just look amazing. They're just so fast. You get a nice bit of air there. And it's all still pretty much the same to this day. The only change is in the first bit of the lap, first few corners, where there's now a whole new Grand Prix circuit. But this bit's still all the same in modern day. Obviously a lot more buildings, things around, and upgraded infrastructure, but yeah, this is all same corner, same layout. Come through the last chicane to finish the lap, going extremely deep, nearly hitting the wall. As we come up to the start-finish line in a second to finish our lap of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Now this is where the track differs drastically nowadays. There's a whole other Grand Prix circuit, but you would start here. But on this version, you just do a 360, 180. You do a 180, but it's a big right-hander, goes forever. And you come back around onto another straight. So this is where you would feed back into the modern day circuit, and you would go right instead of left up here to continue the modern day circuit, but we go left here to start the Nordschleife once more, or the Nordschleife proper. So first proper corner, hairpin, left, followed by, this is probably the part of the track that everyone knows the most because they've probably driven it in sim the most. Go right through here, keeping it in third gear, back on the throttle, rev it out as much as possible, braking about now, down a second, aim for that first apex, should line you nicely up for the second one. Trying to follow the driving lines of the track pretty much. Good spot to start, it's almost like a inbuilt racing line. And then we come up to the other fast part of the course, which is a right-hander then left-hander here, little chicane, and then back on the throttle, coming up to the Flugplatz. Often amazing photo scene coming from up here where there is just cars jumping so far in the air there. We get a little bit of air. And right-hander through Flugplatz. And starting the next part. This is a very, very fast part, and the car always gets loose here and just wants to throw you into fences, or hedges, sorry, left and right. Revving it out as much as possible so I don't have to upshift, and down third, trying to hug the inside as much as possible, back on power to get me more grip. Down a second, coming into corner before Foxhole, not sure of the name, but understeering massively, and coming down into the Foxhole. And this is the part, probably, I reckon, where everyone will start to have their first accident on the Nordschleife driving against it. This left-hander here, little bump, and then brake halfway here, down to third, and then back on the throttle, and then braking down to second. So it's all like throttle, brake, keep the car under control. And another slow part of the corner. Coming up to the old rebel tree, as Jimmy Broadbent likes to call it. Should be on the left, yeah, there. And then coming into the part where we took control of the Cooper in a couple of corners. So nearly finishing our first lap of the Nordschleife with only a couple of extremely missed corners, but that's alright. There's too many to really hit every single one. There's a hairpin here where the Eagle crashed. Still no sight of second place either, so looking like he definitely caused a bit of a pile up and let me just slip away. Hopefully they're alright though. It did look like a slow crash. Coming through miss, hit, miss, and, or as I like to call it, miss, miss, miss. And then down to the hairpin where we took control of. So only half a lap to go, and we are done with this race. Been a pretty decently boring race, I must admit. I thought there'd be a little bit more excitement, but that's the way that this track goes. It's often lonely races, and I think that's a good thing. Although, jump to the 24-hour races and there are more cars than you can poke a stick at. There's like 200 entrants. There's road cars, there's GT3 cars, GT2 cars. It's an amazing thing to watch. It really is. It's amazing that you can fit that many cars on and race, really. I mean, like, leaders are constantly overtaking people, even even an hour in, they're overtaking people, so that doesn't stop till the end. 24-hour race being held since 1970, I think, and still held nowadays, which is pretty insane to even think about. And it's the exact same course as well. As we come through the kink once more up ahead on our way up to the carousel, for the last time, and then we will be on our way to the back third of the track and ready to finish this race. Still haven't seen a single car, but that's okay, not mad about it. Zero in cars while I was driving on this track, I really would have struggled. To come into this right-hander here and get massively loose. Oops. Yeah, I probably would have done that on every corner. Let's be real, it's a hard track to drive. Excuse my French. Coming into the carousel once more. Will we make it this time? Nope, we shoot out once more. And here we are, back again on to the start of the third half of the track. Third quarter of the track. And man, what a track. It's really insane to think that things that happened here did. If I was in real life driving this in this car, I would not even be able to give it a breadth to the throttle. I think I would just be babying it around, but the more you baby these cars, the more they do funny things, so you have to give it some guts. So, meeting somewhere in the middle is always nice. So we come down the hill, up to the right-hander for the last time. Nice and sideways there again, good measure. Down to the left and then snap right past the fence. A lot tighter in real life now. Still a massive drop. We go down YouTube corner. Obviously, Auto Addiction, I think it is, films all of their videos from that corner, and that's where you see all the crashes and incidents and whatnot. Back down to the left once more. Have we made it this time? We have actually done it pretty good. Definitely didn't do it that good last time. Jumping and then turning right. It seems a lot wider than it is on the modern circuit. It seems whenever I'm on iRacing in the 49, I always mess that corner up and I really have to slow down for it. But it could also be the Lotus 49 in iRacing. PC starts to overheat a little bit. And we come through the lush cane. Into, well, not the lush cane, but lush cane before the straight. And up to the right, over the bridge. The left it goes forever, and then we come into the second carousel, ready to finish the corner part of the Nordschleife, or the harder part of the Nordschleife. Only a couple of corners away from us and victory now. So let's do it. The right-hander here, always missing it, nearly in the fence there. That wouldn't have been fun. Back on the throttle and keeping it on the throttle as much as we possibly can onto the straight. PC's really hating life at this point. And onto the straight. So much time to think about where you've got to brake and where you've got to hit your mark. So much time to overshoot. Nice little jump. Castle should be somewhere off to the right, but you can't see it with all the hedges here. No, sorry, castle isn't off to the right. Castle off to the right now, it's footpath. We go under the bridge. 2 corners away from victory at the Nordschleife. Braking about now, down to third, down to second. Brake a bit early actually, but then turning right always seems to be a slow turn in. Back on the power, up to the grandstands, and crossing the line to take first place at the Nordschleife. So, that was very intense drive. It's very, very hard track to drive. And those are just some of the thoughts that I think of while I'm going through it. And it's a great piece of history, great piece of motorsport memorabilia. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.